You have slain an enemy. Kill. Triple kill. Godlike.
Magic lies in the mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the most versatile and useful marksman in the game, Roger. Now be careful, since this hero is highly misunderstood and grotesquely misbuilt, I have come here to guide you with a full course on the fella. Now, unlike other heroes where I usually go explaining the hero's skill and what they do, then showing you examples of some combos, followed by builds and explanations, etc, this guy will have to come in build and emblem first. When you choose Roger, you must know what kind of opponents you face. If the opponents have heroes that are good at running away, make sure you take the Marksman emblem with the Weakness Finder talent. What this will do is ensure that enemies can't escape your clutches unless they have like 782 dashes in their kit. The other emblem choice you have is the Assassin with the Killing Spree talent. This is my favorite. This talent choice should be taken when the enemy has more heroes that are prone to AoE burst like Odette, Lilia, Kadita, Gajin, Leomord, and others. What this emblem talent does is ensure your success and survivability in teamfights, which are the #1 damaging thing to Roger. When we play Roger, we want to make sure that we either take Petrify or Purify on him, but more preferably Purify in this crowd control meta. As for the builds, well, grab onto your seats, kids, because here I come again. Contrary to popular belief, Roger is meant to use a Demon Hunter Sword plus Golden Staff build, unlike the more commonly used critical build. The only time you would equip a critical burst damage build on Roger is when fighting a bunch of enemies that lack a tank or a high HP pool. That's not likely to happen in raid games, but hey, if you want to practice in Classic, this is the build to choose. So let's break down the build I recommend for most scenarios while having the gameplay in the background so you don't die of boredom while listening to me. Demon Shoes, everyone should know by now, are for mana. Roger's constant form switching and skill spamming make for a very heavy mana user, so these boots are required. Next up is his core item, Demon Hunter Sword, aka DHS, but please be aware that he does not need it to do damage early game. DHS works on Roger due to the fact that it is the exact inverse of his passive in Wolf mode. As everyone knows, DHS damage begins to fall off as the enemy's HP drops, but Roger's passive damage increases as the enemy HP drops. In other words, as DHS falls off, Roger's passive picks up. So this is a perfect item sync here, since we are relying on passive damages from either DHS or his own passive. The next most important thing we need is attack speed, which is why you see Wind Talker there. The bonus movement speed also helps a lot when chasing kills or when running away. A lot. And it's cheap. Next up is survivability in teamfights, which is why the Brute Force Breastplate is next. Recall, I said there's a constant form switching and skill spamming. Well, this is perfect for the Brute Force Breastplate since it means that when you jump into teamfights, you will have it at max stacks. Again, the bonus movement speed is just the cherry on top for chasing enemies or running away when you have to. The only thing that can help you now is more attack speed. Why not? Let's max it out, but only because we want to trigger those passives more and more often. This is our damage source, we need it as much as we can. Golden Staff is an item that can do that perfectly fine, so that's why it's next in the build. It not only triggers DHS twice every third hit, but also your passive in Wolf mode. Now tell me that isn't awesome. Last but not least is the only item I will allow you to change if you wish. I personally like to equip Thunderbelt to be extra cancer on slowing down enemies in marksman form in an AoE form, because if you think about it, you have Roger's human mode slowdown, his skill 1 slowdown, his weakness finder slowdown if you have that talent on, and then we add Thunderbelt on top of that. Sure, you can get away with a dash, but by the time that happens, your HP will be low enough to trigger Roger's Wolf mode Howl Chase. And mind you, this Roger is faster than most Rogers out there, but more on that later. Let's start talking about how Roger works, shall we? In reality, Roger is super easy to explain, so I'll do it by modes. In human mode, he has a passive that slows down enemies with each basic attack he does, a skill that is a 2-shot projectile designed to slow enemies down. His second skill enhances his movement speed, and his ultimate is a simple form switch into Wolf mode. Wolf mode has a passive that will deal damage based on how much HP the enemy is missing, which again, is the complete opposite of DHS, which deals damage based on how much HP the enemy has. His skill 1 turns into a lunge, immune AoE type skill. It will make Roger turn into a shadow that can chase enemies through their teleportation abilities regardless of where they go, as long as you lock on before they use their skill. His skill 2 is a howl that will enhance your movement speed if an enemy under 40% HP is nearby. It also increases your attack speed. If an enemy is hidden in the brush with low health, your howl will expose them to attacks. However, this doesn't work against Natalia's since you can expose her but not attack her. I would recommend you form switch and shoot her out invisibility once you know where she's at. It's pretty easy to chase her with 500 movement speed anyways. With all of that said though, let's go ahead and learn how to use him, shall we? The first thing I want you to do once you're in the battlefield with Roger is to steal your ally's buff. Hold on. Wrong guy. This is not Alucard. What I meant to say is that I want you to camp in a brush and wait until 5 enemies appear so you can take them all on at once, even though you are severely underfed. Hold on. That's my Dairoth guide. My bad! Alright, so when you pick Roger, your tank will most likely not lane with you since they want to be helping out the marksman. Very rarely will you get a good tank to lane with you that knows how powerful a fed Roger is. So just get used to being alone for the most part. As is the case with Hayabusa, I want you to understand that although farming is important with Roger, it is not the most important thing to do with him. Let me repeat this. I am not saying to never ever touch the jungle when using Roger. I am just saying that you should prioritize pushing lanes over jungling with him, or teamfights. Roger boasts extreme mobility to be able to flip in between lanes and clear waves. Your wolf mode is made for jungling and teamfights, but if you're farming things such as the crab or enemy monsters, make sure you keep skill 1 in wolf mode available to avoid high burst damage skills. Roger does not benefit from the jungle knife early game. Much like Badang, DHS takes way more priority than any XP or jungle you may get as well. Please don't buy any jungle items on him. I promise you that you will be more busy running around pushing lanes with him than you will be jungling with him. When it comes to teamfights though, make sure that you don't actually go into wolf mode until you notice someone is under 50% HP and that most of the high crowd control skills are gone. Remember that in this game, being ranged has a massive advantage over melee range. But melee heroes are stronger in general when you are in their zone. It's kind of logical. You're going to basically be fulfilling the role of any normal marksman, simply attacking and poking while waiting for the right time to rush in and pick off enemies that fall too far below their HP mark. Also, remember that if a teamfight just happened and that there are some enemies still alive somewhere, you can use your giant skill 2 howl to expose the enemies in the brush before they recall. I cannot stress this enough on how many kills this can get you. There's not much else really to explain with Roger other than to learn to time your skills properly. I could go on and show you examples of how many heroes you can chase or avoid damage from with his skill 1 alone, but that won't help you become a better Roger. Mastering skill 1 in wolf mode is something that will come with experience or prediction, and you'll know how awesome it feels when the enemy has to run away because they failed to even get their first big damaging burst skill off. Nah, I'm just kidding. Here's one tip for you. While roaming around and you know the enemy has a lot of camper and burst type heroes, poke the brushes where you think an enemy or more than one enemy may lie in with skill 1 in human mode. If you listen to the sound effect, when your skill 1 lands, it makes a different kind of noise.
Feel a strange power coursing through my body.
Again, final reminders, always try to play in human mode with him, and since you have a DHS build, you should be able to bring enemies down below 50% HP pretty quick. So the ideal way to kill anyone with Roger is human mode, poke, kill, wolf form, switch, chase, kill, rinse, repeat. In other words, human mode until they're low enough, wolf mode when they're low enough. I know that this full course was a bit shorter than most of my other full courses, but some other heroes in the game have a lot of unique combos and hidden skills. Unlike them though, once you understand the basic mechanics and Roger's kit, then you are left alone with lots and lots of practice. And that's one thing that guides will never teach you. When you chose to play Roger, you chose to be a side lane, a split pusher, a team fight finisher, a fighter, a marksman, and a tank destroyer as well. You are second only to carry in this game in terms of how much of a threat you are to tanks. Kimmy and Claude can be strong, yes, but one blade armor hurts them a lot more than one blade armor hurts you. Who am I kidding? One more tip before I go. When switching forms, you can use skill 2 of either form to carry its effects into the next mode. For example, you can get increased movement speed from human mode in wolf form for a short while, or you can get an enhanced attack speed in human form from the wolf mode for 5 seconds after casting said skill. It's a neat little trick to keep in mind. That's it for this full course, guys. Hope you learned a lot from it. Remember to have fun, and as always, Zero out.